OnlyBuns. Today I wanted to make sort of a daily, weekly checklist type video for the War Within to guide you if you're not sure what to do with yourself after getting to level 80 and finishing the story campaign and unlocking Pathfinder, getting all your flight pass, exploring everything. Maybe you're new to WoW and you're overwhelmed by all the things there is to do, or maybe you're an old WoW boomer coming back, an old veteran returning to the game, and you used to know how things work, but now you don't. Well, I got you. You don't actually have to do anything that I'm going to talk about here today. Nobody can tell you what to do unless they're paying your sub. You could spend your days watering sheep, being AFK, doing some roleplay, or leveling Cataclysm Herbalism to 25 so you can turn yourself into an herb. Some people do pay a sub just to do that. But I think if you want to gear up casually, get some rewards from the new expansion factions, then it might be worth doing at least a couple of the War Within's weekly activities every week. And a lot of the weekly stuff I'm going to talk about here rewards weekly treasure chests. On the tooltip, it'll say weekly cash. First 2 weekly cash that you get each week will have veteran gear in it. The first 4 will have the restored coffer key for delves in it. Although there are many, many different kinds of weekly activities to do in the War Within, to maximize the gear rewards, you only need to do 2 of them. And to maximize coffer key rewards, you only need to do 4 of them. And if there's something you don't like, you don't really have to do it. However, some of these weekly things will reward big reputation gains, and so it might be worth doing all the major weekly events if you care about renown, or at least do the ones that give giga rep for a faction that you care about or want the rewards from. So now with that out of the way, let's start with the major weekly quests in Dornogal, the blue quests. First, there's the weekly dungeon quest from Beardgoth, not Beardgoth. I don't think she actually has a beard, but who knows, maybe she does because she's got a mask on. Her quest gives a big chunk of reputation for the faction of your choice every week. You can clear the dungeon for your weekly with friends, or if you're fresh out of those, AI bots. You can do this in a follower dungeon, and it does count. Personally, I go for Council of Dornogal just because I really want the Ramalith mount. Hey, why did the Earthen forget where his mount was? Because his ram ran out. Next, Archivist Frithrun with the book is the one giving out weekend event quests. What's a weekend event? Well, it starts on weekly reset and it lasts through the weekend and week until the next reset. So why do they call it a weekend event? I don't know. You might see that you have a buff like a Sign of the Explorer, bonus event delves you can see on my screen. This is related to weekend event, and she'll give a quest related to what is going on. So since it's delves week, she wants me to do 5 delves and I'll get a 597 champion loot piece. This is not a weekly cache, as you can see in the tooltip. I don't always do these. Like, I'll skip PvP week because I haven't even tried that yet, but this is totally up to you. The other blue quests might change week to week, but you might want to do the ones rewarding pinnacle cache. Pinnacle caches are weekly reward chests, meaning they can give the veteran gear keys and other stuff like I mentioned. You might find a delves quest for doing delves, archives quest for just killing stuff. This is easy to do just from playing the game. I don't even think about this one, so it's always good to pick this one up. And there's the World Soul quest from Farron. With this one, you pick your poison. I usually go with Awakening the Machine because it can drop a mount, and so I'm always going to be doing that one until I get the mount. If you don't know what Awakening the Machine is, it's a world event for Ringing Deeps. Next is our special assignments. These are locked quests on the map. To unlock them, you need to do world quests in the zone. I always go for Battle Pet and Skyriding race ones because they're easy and fun to do. By the way, you can use level 1 pets against battle pet trainers to win these world quests really easily. I'd also prio the coffer key shard quest. 100 shards makes 1 extra coffer key for delves. The more I do delves, the more I need those freaking keys. Once you unlock the special assignment, you can start or make a group for it by clicking the eyeball on the quest and knock it out super fast. Next is the big zone world events. So each zone has its own special event to do, and it's worth doing all 4 of these once a week. I usually do. Each one gives big rep. Isle of Dorn has the theater troupe running at the top of the hour. It's easy to do. You might even attract an adoring fan who will bug out and follow you out of the event, into the zone, into town, and even delves. He's still here. He's still here. He followed me home. The Ringing Deeps big world event is called Awakening the Machine in Gundargaz I did mention this a little bit before because sometimes it's an option for your World Soul quest. I always do it for the chance at the Mount Machine Defense Unit 111. There are 2 blue quests in town that you should pick up before you start it though, from Nobbles the Kobold in town. Nobbles? Hey, doesn't that kobold do lore videos? Get the quest for Awakening the Machine and one for Globs of Wax. If you are struggling with the Awakening the Machine event, just try checking Wowhead for a delve build for your spec. That might be a little more tanky for you. Or just try a healing spec if it's available for you and heal this lazy guy while he naps or whatever it is he is doing. For the Globs of Wax quest, you get these from dirt piles, so I recommend you turn on this setting in interface options to see them under display outline mode quest objectives. Where to find these dirt piles? Well, there's a bunch of them at the farms in Hallowfall. That's might be your next stop for the Hallowfall big weekly event. Their big weekly thing to do is so easy and fast. It's the easiest one. For their weekly chest, you only need to light 4 of the smaller key flames. You do need shards to light these things, but they are dropping off of every mob here, and some are even on the ground pickup. Light 4 little flames, boom, you're done. Huge Hallowfall Arathi rep. However, you might notice that there are people running up trying to get your attention when you light the key flames, and you might see the star icon quests on your map too from the big key flames. Honestly, I usually only bother with these if I have time and if I feel like it. Okay, yeah, they might give some extra Arathi rep for your warband. That's great. But the quests that reward the Lamplighter Satchel have a chance to drop Kitty. Yes, kitty cat. I try to do some of these at least every week. No luck yet. I guess I'm still searching for the missing links. Next, Zone Ajkahet. So the weekly here is for Severed Threads rep, and it requires you to pledge your warband to one of the bugs. Maybe there's a smart way to choose this, but I went with Widow because I want the Black Widow spider mount, and she calls me Little Morsel. So some of y'all might go with Nizrek for other reasons. Y'all really simping for bugs now? I mean, I kind of see it. You'll be asked to do stuff in Ajkahet. What counts? Killing rares, doing world quests. Again, I do skywriting and battle pet quests first. That's basically it for the big zone event stuff. Might also be worth checking the quests that give extra rep. Another thing I'd make sure to do is kill the weekly world boss. That is the world quest with a skull on it. Join a big raid for this. It's usually really easy and quick and has a chance to drop 603 champion loot. Worth for how little time it takes. This week, the boss was Kordak, and it didn't require much coordination. What else is there to think about each week? Well, once you did the world tour and got all your weekly chests from the zones, you might find you have some restored coffer keys. As I mentioned at the start, you can get 4 from your first 4 weekly caches. These keys are used for getting loot from bountiful delves. These are the ones with the yellow fog wall doors on your map, and we all know there's always good things behind those. Delves are a new feature for this expansion that you can do solo or with a group. Solo can be hard or easy depending on if you know where all your buttons are or if you're playing a tank. Really though, if you are having trouble or are under geared, having a group will make this a lot easier. As for the keys, I suggest to not use delve keys unless the bountiful delve you are in is tier 8 or above. That's because tier 8 has the best possible gear in the chest at the end. 603 loot. You don't need to go higher than tier 8 for just gear. And remember, you need to level up your brand so he can start going all out. Then spend those keys on bountiful tier 8 delve chests. You can do up to 4 bountiful delves each day, which is why my handy dandy chore tracker add-on shows me that I've got 6 keys available and it shows 0 out of 4 because I didn't do any today. I was too busy making this video. There is another reason to do tier 8 delves, and this might be something you also noticed while doing the big world zone activities that I mentioned earlier. The Great Vault. It is the Giga weekly reward chest, and sometimes it is great. Sometimes it's not so great. It's kind of a gamba where you can tilt the odds in your favor. I always look forward to Vault Day every week because it's like, what's in the box? It's exciting. That's the ultimate mystery for a loot goblin like myself. To check your vault, press I on your keyboard, click the Delves tab, and click on the vault. You'll find that your vault has 9 unlockable slots. The more things you do in the game, the more slots you will unlock. When you check the vault after reset, you can pick 1 item from the slots that you unlocked. Just 1. And you don't know if it's going to be a hat, a used syringe, nunchucks, or whatever. So having more slots
Unlocked means it's more likely you can choose the thing you want most. The items you'll have to pick from will be better item level depending on what type of things you did in the previous week. Do harder stuff, you get to choose from better rewards. Makes sense, right? So if you do 2 tier 8 delves, you'll unlock one of the best vault slots for that row, guaranteeing yourself at least one thing that will be eye level 616. That's heroic raid gear. Not too bad, since doing 2 tier 8 delves should only take you 20 to 30 minutes, and it's pretty easy with a small group, even if you're under geared. Doing 4 tier 8 delves will unlock another 616 item slot, 8 delves for the last slot. Of course, you can also do lesser tier delves to unlock some possible slots, but your vault rewards won't be as good. You'll also see rows here for raids and dungeons. Raids, of course, are on the weekly lockout. Time walking dungeons are mentioned as a way to get some more slots for your vault. What is time walking? Well, I made a video about that, so you can check that out if you don't know on this channel, but it's one of those weekend events that I mentioned at the start, which takes us into the other thing that you should definitely try to be aware of each week: events. Outside of weekend events, WoW has a lot of really fun seasonal events and other random events going on. So check the in-game calendar. Sometimes there's daily bosses to kill that can drop mounts. For example, my chore tracker add-on suggests I kill Corin Direbrew. That's because Brewfest is active right now, and I can kill him once a day for a chance at 2 different mounts. But I don't need to, because I got both of those mounts already. Darkmoon Fair is another event that returns every month, and you get a 10% XP and reputation buff from just sitting on the carousel over there. With the Halloween event coming up, we got 20-year anniversary event coming up, we got Thanksgiving, Christmas. You know, you want to be alert to the events. Another thing to keep in mind is the Catalyst. You get a new charge for the Catalyst every other week, and a charge lets you upgrade a veteran or above piece of gear to set pieces. You definitely want to try and get your 2 and 4 set bonuses for your class tier set. These are amazing. You will feel the difference. You're going to feel so much stronger and more powered up when you get them. A couple other miscellaneous things I want to mention. Kill every rare you see. Each rare gives 150 rep once a week per warband. PvP weekly blue quests to pick up from Ruffius in the Forge Grounds in Dornegal. All kinds of PvP activities you can do for honor, conquest, bloody tokens, and renown with various factions. And finally, I wanted to get into the weekly profession stuff that you can do. So WoW's professions are a lot more interesting and more in-depth than they used to be. There is a weekly profession knowledge to be had by doing the weekly profession quests available in Dornegal. I couldn't find these for the longest time until someone suggested I go inside the crafter building behind Clerk Gretel. You can go in there. Sparks, Spark of Omens. These are obtained from chests and other weekly activities. You need a full spark to make an epic quality item. And even if you're not a crafter, you can put in a work order to have somebody make you a really good item. You can also commission a work order for a treatise from a scribe. Yes, that's what you call someone who knows inscription. It's not inscriptionist, inscriptionary. It's a scribe. You can do this once a week. Better yet, make it a guild order and help your guildies out with some crafting knowledge. Again, I use Chore Tracker, the add-on, to keep track of what profession stuff I can still do. It also points out extra knowledge I can gain from treasures that I haven't picked up. Or for mobs, 2 items per profession can be looted this way per week for some extra knowledge. So let's talk about add-ons. I've mentioned Chore Tracker a few times because that is what I use to keep track of everything. I've done every weekend what I need to do. This is a little bar that has a list of things I haven't done yet. It keeps track of events, delve keys, Belladar Shadow, which guess I don't need to worry about that anymore because I got my Belladar mount today, and profession stuff. An alternative to that is Tama's War Within Helper, which is a weak aura. I anchor this to the small mini-map frame that you can pull up with Shift M, so it's not always on the screen, but I usually just use Chore Tracker. That said, a lot of these things I'm only going to do once a week on one character. So how do I know if I did it already? Well, for that, I use saved instances. This puts a check mark next to what each character did. It's also a nice way to keep track of old raids you might have already done this week for transmog or mounts. Choose what works best for you. You don't necessarily need any of these. Maybe you just have a good memory. That's really it for today's video. The War Within is very much different from some of the World of Warcraft expansions from times past. They have listened to the player feedback and they no longer require you to do every single little thing that I've listed here. Like I said at the start of the video, you can pick and choose which weekly activities that you want. You really only need to do 2 for the gear rewards and 4 for the key rewards each week, and that's once a week. Now we've got the warband. You get the reputation for your whole account now, and a lot of this stuff is account wide, and so it's much more relaxing and fun to do all this kind of stuff than it used to be, and it's much easier to have alts as well. They've made it so the things you choose to do every week are fun and rewarding, and you can tailor it to whatever interests you and still have plenty of time to do other kinds of things that you might want to do, like turning into an herb. I do want to remind y'all that OnlyBuns, my guild, is recruiting on NA and EU. You are welcome to join. We have been doing normal raids, heroic raids in some cases, having a lot of fun together. You don't necessarily have to raid with us. You can just join. We've been doing transmog runs of old raids and delves, leveling things, all kinds of stuff. So you are welcome to join it. Doesn't matter what region you're on, doesn't matter what faction you're on. Every bun is welcome. I also want to thank my Patreon and Ko-Fi supporters for keeping the channel alive and helping making it possible for me to make videos like this one. I also want to especially thank the Omega Buns who subscribe at the highest tier. That's Jeanette B, Pete Wilson, and Chris. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Or is it cash or is it cachet? Cachet. Cachet sounds so pretentious, doesn't it? I don't think it's cachet. Oh, excuse me, I need to run off and collect my pinnacle cachet.